You took all of the stress from planning a bachelor party, put it in the burrito and ate it and just destroyed it.
That burrito didn't see it coming, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely not, dude. It caught a couple of strays. Start spreading the games. I'm playing Sonic. I really do not know the lyrics of this song. I really...
Right to the very heart of him. Sonic's mouth. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Is that where you were going?
No, I mean, that was the correct song.
I feel like that's always where you go with Sonic, though. You always start talking about wanting to kiss him.
It's just an unanswered question, you know? It has sat unanswered for too long.
What's the meaning to life? Are we alone in the universe? What's it like to kiss Sonic?
What's up with the kiss on this blue guy, huh?
Is it because he's blue? Is it because he's a porcupine? Or he's a hedgehog? Sorry, how did I say he's a porcupine? Because he's a hedgehog?
I think it's because he's got so much batitude, you know?
Do you think him or Spyro would be a better kisser?
Oh, there's a little bit more humanoid in Sonic. I think Spyro is just a dragon. I don't think he's going to be good at that at all. He literally breathes fire. Hey, it's Video Game Podtimism. It's the Optimist video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase.
And my name is David.
And his name is David. I don't know why I thought I was going to say yours for you. That's a new one.
I can say my own name, thank you.
It's been like 160 something episodes, and suddenly I'm like, it's okay, David. I got it. Don't worry.
It's like after 3 years in a relationship with someone, you just start ordering for them at a restaurant. Just like, no. He'll have the salad. Dressing on the side, please.
What half of the relationship are you in your relationship? Are you the orderer or the orderee? Like, do you do all the ordering?
We both order our own.
Okay.
But typically, Mallory is a bad orderer.
Oh, interesting. Really?
So sometimes she will consult with me. And then I'll say, I'd probably pick between like these three things.
Okay. Right.
But,
wow, the professional.
But oftentimes she will order on her own, and it'll end up ending in her being a little jelly of what I ordered or what someone else at the table ordered. And she is typically disappointed with what she gets, which is a cruel fate to have as someone who also enjoys food, and a good food, to be specific.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a very tragic situation. I don't envy the one. I hate it when I get like, I'm feeling adventurous and I go in there swinging for the fences and just a real dud comes out my way, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm honestly, I feel like I'm a very good orderer. Doesn't happen to me that often.
This is a weird flex.
It's a weird flex. It's like one of my superpowers. I don't know. I usually order something tasty at restaurants. I'm never like disappointed with my food.
I've seen you absolutely woof a burrito, and so I have to assume that like that is your good ordering coming in hand.
I did. It was that shrimp burrito. I think you're referencing. Is that correct?
The one after my bachelor party that like you took all of the stress from planning a bachelor party, put it in the burrito and ate it and just destroyed it.
That burrito didn't see it coming. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely not, dude. It caught a couple of strays.
It was just living a happy burrito life, and then it was just in my belly.
It was like a magic trick. That was really wild.
I had my Joker like cosplay on. You want to see a magic trick? And I just I put the burrito on the table and just smash my face down over it, and it's gone.
You want to see how I got this carne asada? Have you been playing video games, David?
I have been, Chase.
I want to hear about them.
I have been getting back more into Horizon Forbidden West.
Okay, cool. Nice.
First thing I want to say is this game is giving Ghost of Tsushima a run for its money for the most gorgeous game I've ever played. It is really impressive how good this game looks. It has a buttery, smooth frame rate. Yeah. The colors are gorgeous. The detail they've put into these landscapes is just jaw-dropping sometimes. Like when you were first going into the Forbidden West and you're going down that little gondola. Yeah. And you see just the sheer cliff sides around you. You're just like, oh my God, it really feels like how I imagine it would be like being someone in, the 1800s heading west for the first time, and everything's just been kind of flat, deserty plains, right? And then you get to this huge, crazy area with these big rocks and mountains. It's very impressive. So that was really fun to be in this world.
Yeah.
The gameplay is still, I think, sublime. It's still, the loop of just fighting these robots, these giant animal dinosaur robots, is still so fun to me.
Yeah.
The bow still feels great.
The bow does feel good.
The hunting and the tracking is good still. That loop there, I think, is still really nice. I really enjoy that. I am curious to see if Aloy gets a little bit more interesting in this game to me. I feel like a lot of what was interesting about her in the first game was her like mystery. Like, who is this? Who is this person? Like, she obviously is special, different than other people around her, but why? What is going on? And just unraveling that mystery was so rewarding and fun in the first game. And now at the start of this game, and I don't know how it's going to end, but just right now, it just seems like she is currently the savior. She can do no wrong. She is just like unfuckwittable. Which is fun to see as a character. Like, hey, great, she's come a long way. She's doing great things. Everyone respects her. That's awesome. But it's not as interesting as a narrative character arc.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if maybe they start playing around with, themes of like she's pushing people away, like all of her friends, they want to hang out with her. She's like, no, I just need to do my mission. And she's just like totally focused on just this one thing. I'm curious to see if they'll play around with that as like a growth area for her in this game. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So I'm curious to see what they do with like her characterization in this one, because if it just kind of stays the way it is now, I don't know if it's going to be as engaging for me personally, but still the like gameplay and the world itself is just so good. And the story itself, I kind of don't know what's going on too well right now. It's a little bit more loose in the beginning. Like the first game felt so tight narratively. And I think they're just that it feels like they were struggling to pick up the pieces and get everything going again for this game. But I feel like we're starting to get into more. I'm starting to get in more like the meat of the game. So I'm really excited to see how it goes from here. And at the very least, I'm excited to get this glider, because like seeing some of these sheer rock faces and like being able to glide down those, that's going to be awesome. I know I sound like just a typical like focus group gamer nowadays. What does this game need? It needs a glider? Do you ever play Breath of the Wild?
It'd be so fucking sick if I could just like glide here, dude.
Yeah, like not too fast, and I definitely lose altitude kind of quick, so I can't go too far, but it's enough time to really appreciate the landscape.
The shit I want in a video game is graphics and gliders and babes and guns.
So all gamers and focus groups who like gliders also want babes in their games. They're like, hey, E3, where'd all the booth babes go? They're also amongst that contingent of folks.
Sure, yeah.
That's a real bummer.
Yeah, it is a real bummer. That's correct. Can you believe that was a thing that we did for so long?
Oh, yeah.
In the games industry?
Yeah.
That was a real thing.
Yeah, and there would be like full page spreads of like, here's the hottest booth babes from E3 this year, you horny little boys.
Oh,
just like, God. Oh, God.
So bizarre.
Yeah, it was bad. It was all sorts of bad. Also, I will say one more thing about Horizon. Some of the best facial motion capture I have seen in a game.
It's pretty nuts.
This studio is it was Guerrilla Games, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's Guerrilla Games. They are really flexing their technical know-how in this game, just with the graphics and the motion capture and just how everything is presented.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive and amazing.
It's pretty wild that like for when did LA Noire come out? That was like early 2010s, right?
Early mid 2010s, I believe. Yeah.
It's so bizarre that game was marketed as like the facial animation game, and like in hindsight they look like really rough. But games like this are like I wouldn't call them quiet about the facial animation being so good, but it is really not the focal point of the game like it was in LA Noire, where like so much of the marketing cycle of that game was like you're gonna be able to tell if somebody's lying just based on their facial animations.
Yeah, I could not in that game. That game was hard for me.
Yeah.
I was so confused all the time. But yeah, this game, like this one, like you can really tell.
Yeah. You can see the emotion on somebody's face for sure.
Yeah, like just like the very subtle furrowing of a brow every now and then. Mm-hmm. Really, really good. And then one other thing that I really like that this game does is when you are pulled away by curiosity away from the main story or like the main path you're supposed to take. Like I was going to that first village in the game, and then I was like, oh, there's a big cliff over here I should climb. And I went up it, and then Aloy starts talking about like this cliff that she's now climbing.
Yeah.
And like, oh, let's see what's up here. I wonder what's going on this way. And then just like is talking to herself all the way up this cliff with like very specific dialogue that is designed for this experience of just like, okay, getting off the beaten path and going up here and seeing what's up.
Yeah.
I love that. That adds so much immersion for me personally.
Yeah.
It seems like such a small piece of the puzzle of immersion, but really gets me to that headspace personally of just, okay, I've chosen this path and there is still something in here that the game is giving me based off this random thing that I've decided to do that it knew that I probably would do, and is giving me a reward of just a little bit of dialogue for that. I'm very dialogue driven for like reward wise.
Sure.
Like if you give me a little piece of extra voice acting, I always love that in a game.
It's really interesting. I remember hearing really mixed things about Aloy's self-talk that she does in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people were really frustrated by her essentially like telling the player what to do a lot of the times.
Sure.
Of like, if you're in a room and there's a puzzle, she'll be like, I need to figure out how to get over there or something like that.
Like God of War as well.
Yeah, a little bit, right? And I don't know if I've ever seen it interpreted as like just her kind of describing what's happening. And that does make more sense that if it's kind of a side thing that wouldn't be as grating, I guess, to you. Yeah.
No, yeah. For me, it was because it wasn't like I was confused or stuck or anything.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a puzzle. It was just, let's climb this thing. And she's talking to herself, okay, gotta jump over here. I'm gonna do it. Whoa, I did it. That was a big jump.
Sure.
I like that personally. Maybe they'll do it too much. Who knows? Like I still haven't played too much of this game yet.
Yeah.
But so far I've enjoyed that personally.
For sure. For whatever reason, I'm very agnostic about that stuff. I don't know. It doesn't really bum me out that much when, even in God of War, where like I can see that game was a little heavier on Atreus being like, hey dad, here's the solution to the puzzle that we're doing in this video game. For whatever reason, it just doesn't really grate on me. I've seen a lot of people being like, please, I need you to like trust me a little bit more to fail so I can like experience this game. But I don't know. It's like invisible to me. I don't see it a lot of the time. And I didn't with Horizon either. When people started like complaining about her talking, I was like, I guess she talks. I don't know. I don't remember her doing that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. And for me personally, like if I'm flowing through this area that she's doing this, it adds to it to me. Of like, she's thinking these thoughts that I'm also thinking as the player, but saying them out loud. It's just kind of reaffirming that, yes, this is what I'm supposed to do here, and then just do it as she's saying it like as I'm doing it. So it does not bother me at all. So yeah, we'll see where it goes if it does get bothersome, but so far, not at all.
Sweet. That's good to hear.
Yeah. So yeah, excited to see where this one goes and see if I can recognize any of the places in California that this game takes place in, which is one of the more exciting things for me. Yeah, absolutely, I will. Let's see. The other game I've been playing, and once again, just a little bit of this, was PGA Tour 2K23.
You're a golf guy now, David.
I'm a golf guy, baby.
2K23? Is that the new one?
Yeah, it's free on PlayStation Plus this month.
Okay, yeah. Golf.
Golf, baby. It's Tiger Woods, baby. It's Tiger.
This is weird. I don't think you and I have ever talked about golf. Like in the 25 years of us knowing each other, I don't know that that's ever come up.
I don't think we've ever in passing talked about Tiger Woods even, who's like the most popular golf player of all time.
Yeah, no.
But no, I mean, I'm a red-blooded American man, Chase. I gotta support the PGA Tour over the LIV or whatever it is, even though now they've merged, I think.
I don't know what any of this shit is, David.
So you want a quick aside?
Nope.
Okay.
tell me about PGA Tour.
Just no shits about golf. It's a fun geopolitical situation as well. Semi, but also PGA Tour 2K23.
Yeah.
I've never played a golf sim game before. It's always been arcade golf games or like Wii Golf.
Yeah.
So I saw that it was free. I'm like, might as well give it a shot. Or I guess might as well give it a swing, I should say.
Wow.
the first bit of the game is just a tutorial, just teaching you how to do a shot, how to do a swing,
hit that ball, man,
how to hit that ball, how to loft it, how to use different clubs, how to use different like types of shots, how to do different power shots, how to put it, like make it curve left or right.
Yeah.
So lots of different things that they teach you in this game, but honestly, like nothing was like super more in depth than what you do in Golf Story, essentially, really? Which was a little surprising. I was like, I thought it was going to be a little bit meatier than that. Maybe like more depth, like choices for certain things, like different clubs and different stances and like types of shot. Like you loft a shot, you could do like a slide drive, you could do a regular drive, which you can't do in Golf Story.
Yeah.
But not too far, not that much more complicated, honestly. And you use the right analog stick to like go back and then press forward. There's a power gauge. The longer that you hold back, the more it fills up, and you push forward. And depending on how straight you push forward, depends on how straight your shot goes, right?
Okay.
So pretty basic. Like if you've played any sort of Madden games, it's pretty much like kicking a field goal.
Okay.
Same mechanics.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying this game so far. I've always liked I like simulated golf. Sinking a nice hot putt for a birdie always feels so good. It is so rewarding. And in this game, they put a lot more emphasis on like reading the green when you're putting. So you really have to change where you are aiming on the green, even if there's like a little bit of rise, to make a curve into the hole.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest difference I see in this game compared to other like more sim or arcadey golf games I've seen is the putting. The putting is definitely a different beast in this one, but I think in a good way, in that it's trying to be just as in depth as the driving, which is usually like the meat of the game for those other types of games. And once you get on the green, it's kind of like, oh, you just hit like once or twice and it's in.
Sure.
But in this one, you could really mess up your putts, and then you're in for a world of hurt at that point.
Then you're in Tiger's world.
Then. Do you watch Jujutsu Kaisen?
No, I do not.
I was going to say it's Tiger Woods doing his domain expansion, but you wouldn't understand that. Any other weebs out there will get it. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I am enjoying it quite a bit. There's a robust, not super robust, but robust enough character creator to make someone who just looks totally sickly and like they should not be outside playing golf at all. They should not be in the sun. It looks like this character has probably going to have some melanoma in his future that I've created. I don't know what happened, but
you've made Dabien the golf ghoul.
I have. I should take a picture and send it to you. This should be my new avatar. Dabien the basketball ghoul has had his time in the sun. Now it's time for Dabien the Tiger Woods ghoul.
I love all the ghouls that you make in sports games. You do create a lot of ghoulish men.
It's honestly one of my favorite things about sports games is they always give you a character creator. It's always somewhat robust, and you can always make something that just comes out
really fuck it up good.
Yeah, you can really make something terrifying every once in a while. So I'll send you a picture of my golf ghoul in a bit here.
Put it in the Discord. I want to see it.
So but man, he rips those drives though, baby.
Sure,
he gets it in.
Golf,
he gets it in the hole. So yeah, it's a fun game. I'm enjoying it. You can go on tour. You can play a bunch of different courses. I think that's the big thing that I'm noticing between this and other golf games is just the number of like different unique holes that they have in this game.
Sure.
It really adds to the strategy to it because each hole is a puzzle essentially. So you really have to think and wait a second and be like, should I go to the left here? Should I go right? Do I just want to whack it as hard as I can? If I don't whack it as hard as I can, and because I just mess up the swing, is it really going to be something detrimental to me getting like a good score on this hole? Do I want to be conservative, aggressive? What club do I use here? So there's a lot of different decisions you have to make, which I think is probably one of the more fun things for me in this game is just that there are so many, like it adds just another layer of depth compared to the other golf games I've played of just decision making to see what to do in any given situation, because it's almost always a way out. You just have to get creative and fun with it. Golf can be fun, baby, if you know how to swing it, which is a good time.
I believe you. I'm watching clips of this game, and like other than the realism, it looks like a golf game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't. It like if you just put a shinier coat of paint, this is Mario Golf for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, honestly, it's true. Like I was ready for like a 45-minute tutorial like you get in MLB The Show or NBA 2K, where it teaches you each and every dribble move. Here's how to do a step back. Here's how to do a Euro step.
Yeah.
Here's how to do a reverse layup. Here's what to do on a fast break. It's overwhelming going through those, and they change it every year a little bit. They just try to mess with you. So if you haven't played for like 5 years, you got to do it all over again. You're like learning from scratch.
I have tried to play the like NBA 2K games a couple of times, and like it is there is so much knowledge that you need to play that game.
Yes, you really have to also have like a working knowledge of the strategy of basketball.
Yeah,
to play those games
like,
well.
It's so surface level for me. I don't like engage with it that hard. I do like basketball, but like I don't dig it enough to know like the meta, you know?
All I gotta know is De'Aaron Fox is fast and Domantas Sabonis is strong. That's all I
get that. I do know those two things. But like there is such a gulf between the arcade and simulation games for like most sports games. And so it's interesting to hear that for golf, it's like maybe not as big, not as wide.
No, I was surprised by that. So I don't know if maybe this is more of like a sim arcade game, a la like maybe like a Project Gotham Racing or like a or a Forza Horizon sort of deal. Yeah. If there is like a more in-depth like golf sim, this is where all the golf heads go to get their golfing out sort of deal. Yeah. But I'm having a lot of fun with this game so far. I think it's just giving me that extra layer of depth that I've always kind of wanted from those more arcade games, and it's fulfilling. It's fulfilling me.
It's good to hear. Glad about that. As like again, as somebody who has enjoyed sim games for genres that I have not expected to enjoy, it's good to hear. Like for a long time I was a big like arcade racer and did not think I would ever be into like Gran Turismo or like even Forza for that matter. And so it was a little surprising to find that like, no, I actually do like those games. It just sort of took Forza Motorsport coming out for me to like enjoy them.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to find your perfect mix of sim and arcade, and then you can keep going in one direction or the other to your liking. That's what I think it's always fun about those sort of like sports games or sim realism-ish games.
I need that driving line, man. The driving line in Forza Horizon. If I just had one of those for like 2K, if they're just like, you should be over here and doing this probably. Honestly, that would really help because like
they do have that. You can run plays and it'll like show you where to go on the floor, but it's all still like basketball shorthand.
Yeah.
Like there's dash lines, there's lines that are just dots, there's lines that are just full on lines, there's circles that are dashed out. So it's all still very confusing unless you like once again have a working knowledge of like what a basketball play when it's drawn up looks like and it means when you're visually taking it in.
Yeah. I feel like because it's been around, the driving line has like, I don't know, I take that for granted in Forza, but like how much information they are able to pack into that. And like, of course, yes, playing basketball is much more complicated, like as far as how many mechanics you need to figure out at one given time. In a racing game, all that's being communicated to you is like where on the track you need to be and if you should be like just gassing it or hitting the brakes, right?
Yeah.
And so like there's going to be more in a basketball game, but like man, that thing alone got me into racing sims of just being able to like get how do I need to be approaching this turn? And if you kind of focus on that, you're good. Like that usually does it.
I love the driving line. I have one bone to pick with it though.
Yeah.
Can we have other color options besides red and green?
We need it, man. Surely there has to be one by now, right?
Because whenever I have played a Forza game, I don't know when it starts getting red, when it becomes like a gradient, when I should start like slowing down. I can see where it gets like dark red in the future, and then I just kind of have to guess.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Like, can we get like blue and yellow? I could tell those two. That's fine. Yeah. I gotta give a voice to all my colorblind brethren out there.
Yeah, sure.
I would think that now that they're doing a little bit more with colorblind modes in games nowadays, that would be a thing, but I haven't seen it, or at least I haven't looked for it in a game so far. Maybe Horizon 5 might have one, but I don't know.
God, this is so the internet. There's a thread on Reddit where somebody asked, is there a way to change the colors of the driving line? And every comment is, dude, if you're not a fucking beginner, just turn it off. Just answering a different question. I see the question.
That's not my
asked.
Question, everybody.
Yeah, I would like to answer something else. That makes
I would
me
like
look
to
good.
play with bumpers on.
Yeah.
Thank you. It makes it more enjoyable for me. And that's all I've been playing this week, Chase.
Sweet.
Chase is waiting for me to invite him in.
I'm treading water outside of the international waters of talking about video games.
All right. Chase, what have you been... It's a secret segment, Chase.
Is it actually?
It's a secret segment. Yeah,
Oh my God. What's the secret segment?
Let me show you something, Chase.
This is going to be a jump scare.
This is something exciting. This is something good.
All right.
But let me show you and introduce you to Bruce.
Oh my God.
Bruce the cat.
Bruce is a cat. That is a creature in your room.
That's my cat.
That's your cat.
That's my cat.
Oh my God. This is a secret segment. What's up with Bruce? What's his deal?
Bruce is the sweetest little cuddly cat and my best friend.
Yeah.
No offense, Chase.
That's fine. He's a cat. I get it.
He's a cat. Those friendships work differently. The rankings are different. And we went to a cat rescue over the weekend and we fell in love with Bruce. And they put the carrier in the room we were in with him and he walked right in. He's like, get me out of here. I'm with these folks now.
Dude. Damn.
So yeah, we have a cat and his name is Bruce. And
that's good.
The sweetest little cuddly boy I've ever met.
Oh, wow. That's a good secret segment.
That's a good secret segment, right?
Yeah. A dense secret segment too.
Very dense. And in honor of Bruce, the cat.
Okay. Yep.
I have a little trivia game for you, Chase, based on the most well-known cats and Bruces in games.
Okay, both cats and Bruces.
Yeah, so get ready. Wait, hold on. I need to Google something real quick.
Yeah, Googling famous cats and Bruces.
No, I already looked it up. Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
So,
yeah, Blinks.
In the game, we'll get there.
Okay.
In the game Cat Tales.
Yeah.
There are 3 cat colonies.
Oh, God.
Which one of these is not one of those colonies?
Okay.
The forest colony.
Uh-huh.
The swamp colony.
Uh-huh.
The mountain domain.
Yeah.
Or the mystic colony.
They all seem real. I've been listening to so much Paws and Claws. I should really know this. I think I was in the mountain domain.
I believe you're right. I remember that.
I feel like you talked a lot about the swamp people.
I did.
I remember a forest, so like maybe the Mystics, but I feel like could you not join the Mystics? Was that the stipulation?
I cannot answer this question, Chase.
All right, I'm just going to say the Mystics.
The Mystics, is that your final answer?
Yeah, sure.
That's incorrect, Chase.
Fuck.
It's the swamp colony was the false one.
Oh man, I was
because
pretty certain
the ones
colony.
That were in the swamp were the mystic colony.
Oh.
Ha! I fooled you there.
Oh. I'm sorry, Bruce.
I'm sorry, Bruce. Don't be sorry to Bruce. Be sorry to cats for that one.
Yeah. Sorry, Scout and Jill.
Next question.
Yeah.
The cyberpunk-fueled city in the video game Stray.
Yeah.
Was inspired by what real-life city?
Oh, no. Do I have multiple options?
No.
Fuck.
This one's just rip it and rip it, baby.
God, in the past secret segment quizzes, I have felt so confident about so many of the answers.
This one was, I was doing some deep dives, Chase.
Oh, man. I'm so close to Google. I could just figure the answer out.
That's cheating, Chase. And I know you are a man of honor. You will not do that. I will answer questions you have about this one. If you want to try to locate it a little bit better.
Is it a Western or an Eastern city?
Eastern.
Akihabara?
No. I'll let you have one more guess if you want. You've probably seen pictures of this place online. Well, it's kind of a deep dive.
I don't know. Osaka.
It's the walled city of Kowloon, Chase.
Oh my God.
Kowloon,
David,
China.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I was nowhere near.
I'm almost sure you've seen a picture of this place, though.
Probably. Yes. Yeah, I'm looking at pictures. I have seen pictures of it. It does kind of look like Stray, huh?
Yeah. They saw a picture of that city and they thought, that is a cat's playground. And that's when they made Stray.
Oh, man. Okay. Gosh. 0 for 2.
You're going to get there.
I hope so.
Okay. Next question. Chase.
Yeah.
In Dark Souls 1.
Oh, God.
In the Dark Root Wood. There is a spectral cat whose faction you can join. What is the name of this cat?
What the faction is?
No, I'm asking you the name of the cat.
Oh,
has
God.
A name. I'll get this. You'll have multiple choices for this one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, God.
Regina. Sabrina.
Okay.
Alvina. Davina.
I'm going to go with Alvina, David.
It is Alvina.
Oh, thank God. I don't have to sit. I'm not trolling. I don't have to sit under the quiz table after do this one.
You're doing just fine. This is a tough quiz.
This is a tough one.
This is really a tough quiz.
Really up the difficulty here.
Bruce doesn't fuck around, dude. Bruce does not fuck around. That's really
fair.
what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Next question, Chase.
Are
you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. In the game Okami, you play as Amaterasu, the god of the sun. In this same game, you can find other gods. There is a cat god in this game called Kabegami.
Yes.
What is she a god of in this game? Do you want multiple choice?
Do you have multiple choice?
I can make one up real quick.
I played so much Okami, David.
Is she the god of painting? Is she the god of the forest? Is she the god of the brush? Or is she the god of fish?
I feel like she was the god of brush, David.
She is the god of the brush, Chase.
Oh, thank God.
Well done, sir.
Fish seemed a little bit too obvious.
You saw my trap, did you?
I did.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, Chase.
Yeah.
Bruce Irvin is a character in a fighting game. He is a former NFL player turned fighter. Which fighting game is he from?
He's in a fighting game.
He's in a fighting game. Strike that. He's not an NFL player, but his name is Bruce Irvin. And he's in a fighting game. He does Muay Thai boxing.
Oh, it's that's Tekken, right?
It is Tekken, Chase.
Thank you. Amazing. I was
like, you knew that one?
Muay Thai got me there. He has the it has the wild kicks.
Nope, yeah, Tekken, you got it. You nailed it, dude. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm always so impressed by your knowledge of these things.
This is honestly the only thing it's good for. This specific situation.
All right, Chase. Everyone's favorite cat race in Elder Scrolls are the Khajiit.
Yes.
What is the name of their homeland?
Oh my God. It's in there somewhere, David. It's a weird word.
It is a weird word. I also didn't have time to make up multiple choice questions for you, so that's why I'm making it more difficult, and it's just all recall.
No, it's in there. It's like Elsewire.
I will accept that. It is Elsewhere.
Let's go, dude.
ELSWEYR.
Oh yeah, I bet that's pronounced elsewhere, huh?
I think it's pronounced elsewhere, but I will take what you said. I've never heard it pronounced, so I cannot confirm or deny if that is wrong or not.
I don't think I've said it out loud before. It's only really just like a series of letters that I see in like a book in Skyrim or Oblivion or something.
Yeah. You consulted your vast knowledge of the past and you found that sitting somewhere in there. That was impressive. That was impressive, Chase.
I told you it was in there.
It absolutely was in there.
Yeah.
Okay, Chase.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite smart-mouthed cat from Pokemon is Meowth.
Yes.
At what level does he evolve into Persian?
Oh no. I feel like it's later than I want it to be, but it's not the like way too late kind of Pokemon, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I can't remember what Charmander is, but like he's in the 30s somewhere. It's like kind of the like most of the starters I feel like are the early 30s.
For their final evolution?
Yes, correct.
I think it's like 36 usually, something like that.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. And I don't think Persian's in the 30s.
Okay.
I'm going to say 29, David.
Chase, you were so close. It is 28.
Oh, no.
28. That is still a full negative point there for that one, even though you were so close. But I am impressed that you were that close.
Oh, man.
Well done.
It stings a little more.
You get chutzpah points for that one.
Sure, yeah. The effort was there.
You got some chutzpah, kid. Name the emo-looking cat lion creature from Final Fantasy VII.
Kate Sith?
I don't think that's a name that is this person's name. I found a different name for this.
Kate Sith is a character in Final Fantasy VII.
It is not this cat.
Emo cat.
Emo cat. Maybe cougar-esque.
Oh, a Red 7.
Chase, I believe that the real name is Red 13.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. It's Red 13.
Chase, that is a negative point.
Oh, come on.
You said Red 7. It's Red 13.
We said Final Fantasy 7, and I thought 7.
I mean, right, I understand. It's Red 13. I understand where you're coming from, but you gave me the wrong answer. It doesn't count. You gave me the wrong answer.
It's true. That's true.
You get, once again, chutzpah points for that one.
Can I get some points back for knowing that his real name is Nanaki?
Yeah, I'll give you a full point for that.
Okay, thank you.
I had no idea. Nanaki. That's a good name.
Yeah.
Okay, Chase.
Yeah.
Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Oh, here we are.
Everyone's favorite mascot. The game was billed as the first timed cat game.
Uh-huh.
The first sweeping game.
Okay.
The first cat platforming game.
Okay.
Or the first 4D action game.
I'm torn between 4D action and sweeping, David. I feel like I've been on a streak of wrong answers.
I mean, the last two were just by hair a whisker, you could say.
I'm going to go with the first sweeping game, David.
Chase, that is incorrect.
No!
It was billed as the world's first 4D action game.
I should have just gone with the fucking marketing speak.
Okay, we're going back to Bruce questions now.
Okay.
Everyone's favorite Bruce in gaming is Bruce Wayne, of course.
Sure.
And he had 2 parents who were murdered.
Uh-huh.
What is the name of Bruce Wayne's parents?
His mom is Martha.
Yes, correct.
Is dad Thomas?
Also correct.
Yes.
Well done.
Strong on my Bruce knowledge, David.
Bonus points. What's the name of Catwoman?
Her Christian name, her God-given name.
Her God-given name from Lord Rikus himself.
I think this is also in there. Is it Selena Kyle?
It is Selena Kyle, Chase.
That's Bruce knowledge, baby. Bruce and cat knowledge.
Chase, in... Just the question's funny. Yeah. In the November 1990 issue of GamePro.
Yeah, sure. I read that. I was a month old.
They had a preview of the game Mega Man 3.
Uh-huh.
And in this preview, they mistakenly identified this new character as having the name of Bruce. Which character did they misidentify as Bruce?
I'm like Dr. Light. I have no idea.
I don't. Did you ever play Mega Man 3?
Is it like Proto Man or something?
It's Proto Man.
It's Proto Man?
It's Proto Man.
They named him Bruce? Or
they
mistakenly called him Bruce?
Named him Bruce. Here's the reason why. Why. All in Japanese, all of the villains, I guess, are named after different types of music.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, I did know this.
The Proto Man in Japanese is Burusu, which is supposed to be blues.
Oh,
but you can't translate that to English, or they didn't want to translate it to English because Mega Man's blue, and they thought that would confuse people.
Sure, yeah.
And then GamePro saw what the translation was into English, and they just called him Bruce.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So
I kind of like Blues Man.
Blues Man.
That's pretty good.
It is. That's fun, right?
Yeah.
That's fun, right?
Don't get me wrong. I do think Proto Man is a pretty cool name, but Blues Man ain't bad.
Last one, Chase. Last question. There have been a number of fighting game characters based off of the legendary Bruce Lee.
Uh-huh.
Name as many as you can.
Oh my God.
Bonus points if you give me the game as well.
There's so many.
Just name as many as you can. You get a point for each.
I don't know if Johnny Cage counts because he's like doing all sorts of weird, crazy shit, but he does do like the splits.
And Johnny Cage does not count.
Liu Kang then?
Liu Kang does count. And game.
Mortal Kombat. Come on, David.
That's 2. I'm checking your knowledge here, Chase Albee.
Does Law count from Tekken?
Law absolutely counts from Tekken.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Can you give me his first name?
Oh, God, no, I don't think I can. It's just Law in my head.
That's fine. I will accept last names, but his first name, just so everyone knows, is Marshall.
Marshall Law? That's his name?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Oh, my God.
But Marshall, like Marshall Mathers, right? Pretty good name.
Marshall Law. That's
pretty
bananas.
Great name.
I mean, Gren from Tobal #1 last week was definitely making some Bruce Lee sounds.
I will definitely accept that, Gren. Yes.
I feel like there's that middle era of Street Fighter where like they had a lot more characters, and I'm really only familiar with like Street Fighter 2 and then the most recent one.
Sure.
Faye? Is that anything?
That's a first name. I'll give you half points, but...
No, it's in there. Hold on. Fei Long.
Fei Long. Wow. That's damn impressive. Yes, Fei Long from
Street Fighter.
I'm gonna need to see your hands, Chase. Are your hands away from the keyboard, sir? I'm gonna need you to screen share with me, sir. I need to make sure you're not cheating over here.
I play a lot of video games.
I know. I'm not. You play the fuck ton of video games.
I think that's as much knowledge as I have because I can't think of anybody in Soul Calibur.
You can't think of anyone in Soul Calibur? Are you sure? There is one that is like strikingly Bruce Lee in Soul Calibur.
Oh God, yeah, it's the dude who fights with like the nunchucks. Maxie?
It's Maxie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Maxie.
Yes.
You're really making up for all your whiffs before with these ones.
Those ones. I don't think I have any other fighting games that I'm that familiar with.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Wow. That's a secret segment.
I hope you had fun.
I was not expecting that. I did have fun. Thank you, Bruce, for bringing us this segment.
Yeah, thanks, Brucey.
Somebody in the Discord had suggested that we take the mantle of bullshit that Kim was bringing to Asynchronous that is now just like floating out there. And I feel like that was you reaching out and grabbing it.
It's mine now.
Yeah. This one goes out to Async.
This one goes out to Async, and this one goes out to Bruce the cat.
Yeah. Video games, man.
Video games, man. Anyways, Chase, what have you been playing this week?
I've got 2 games for you. Cool. Not 3. The first one that I've been playing, David, is a game by the name of Dragon Quest Builders.
You've played this one before, haven't you?
I have played Dragon Quest Builders 2. I have not played the first one.
You went back to the original. Okay.
I did because like I had heard from read on reviews that the first one and the second one were like not that different, that there was like some stuff that had been changed, but it wasn't like dramatic between the two of them. And I really liked 2. Weirdly enough, 2 was one of the earlier games that we talked about on this podcast. It's in episode 6.
Wow.
My video game Podtimism. Pokemon Stadium and the Loving Bust was the title of that one.
What a title.
I know. Playing a little fast and loose with the titles back then. It was COVID.
Like we just got to get people to look.
Yeah. Bit of a jump scare on that one. Although I sent a link to our Snowboard Kids episode the other day, which was still titled Thickwood Snake, which felt pretty rough.
But I mean, Thickwood Snake is pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. It is pretty funny. It's better. I think it's better than the Loving Bust, but still. Anyway.
Yeah, not quite as blue.
Yeah, not quite as blue. This game had come out in like 2016, I think, and then Dragon Quest Builders was like 2018, somewhere around there. I had played the second one, like I said, it was like the tail end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and I really liked it. Like I was surprised that these two things had come together in the form of Dragon Quest and this combination with Minecraft that this game is, and this one is as well. I guess for people who haven't played it, it's that. It is a Minecraft-like game that is set in the Dragon Quest world, and I'll explain a little bit what that means in a second. But that's pretty much it. Like if you imagine that, it's pretty close to what the actual game is. I had not returned to 2, but again, I was just like I was craving more of this game, and so I think it was on PlayStation's whatever we got collection. So I downloaded it there, and I've been playing it.
Oh yeah.
So just like the setup of this game, you like wake up in some kind of like crypt or something like that, and there's this like maybe deity talking to you in your head about how you're one of the few remaining builders. Whoa. As it were, which just means that like you can build stuff.
Cool. You're an architect, son.
It's a sort of a funny setup for a game because like they give it to you immediately, the conceit of like people don't know how to build in this world anymore, which is hard to get on board with just like conceptually of like they haven't thought to wrap a stick and a rock together, but that's the conceit of the world, and they hit it with you immediately. They're just like, you got to get on board now.
We're just sleeping under trees?
Yeah, no, genuinely, yes. Like when you roll up back to this like kind of half-destroyed tiny little town, it's like just dirt and a couple of walls.
Wow. The
person talking to you in your head is like, hey, you need to like rebuild this city. It was once like a cool spot, but you have to rebuild it. And the people the people that show up to this place, they're immediately like, what are you doing? Like, why? How are you building rooms out of nothing? I don't understand like what you're doing here. But they're all like, but this is actually pretty sick because now I don't have to sleep in the forest or whatever. Like
they're just confused. Like, what is this witchcraft?
Yes, no, genuinely. They're like, it's a form of magic or something like that. Like it's real. Again, it's really funny. I think once you get over the hump of like people don't know how to do this, the game is like pretty funny about it, which I really appreciate. And like in general, it's a pretty irreverent game, not in like South Park Cartman voice sort of irreverent, but like the characters are always kind of poking fun at you, which is, I think, pretty good. It's the same situation of like, you're the only capable person in the room and these people are like struggling just to like find a place to sleep. And they're like, aren't you a weirdo or whatever? It's like, it's funny because of like just how more capable you are in this game or in this world than these people are. So I think it's funny. I think it's like enjoyable.
Yeah.
Essentially, the way that the game loop works is that you start off with like just one person in your village and she's like, hey, could you build me this thing? Or I want you to build me a room to sleep in. That's one of the early ones. So they can
conceptualize rooms and things to build, but they can't do it themselves.
Yes. Like they don't know how to make it. Wow. Like they have seen these things before, right? Like they've seen
an executive planning problem, a motor planning problem, probably a little bit of both.
Probably a little bit. They've seen a room before, but they didn't realize that somebody could make that.
Where have they seen a room if no one can build things? Sorry, I have a lot of questions about this world.
I guess like a cave or something, you know?
It's like a cave, but you build it.
But you made it, yeah. And so the game tasks you with that. Sometimes like the challenges are very simple of like, you just need to build like a sword for this person or something, and they'll be like, all right, great. But other times, and I think the cooler parts of the game is when it asks you to build something specific. A very easy example is a room, right? And they define in the game very clearly, like a room is this big of a space. It has to have walls that are 2 blocks high. Again, it's a Minecraft game, so like everything is broken up into blocks, so you can just put a square and then put one above it, and that counts as a wall. Mm-hmm. And so it has to be at least 2 high. There has to be a door, and then a torch in the room and a bed, and that counts as like a bedroom or something.
It's solid. Okay.
The game is like pretty open with what that means, right? Like you can really build that in any configuration as long as it meets those criteria, which is really fun for me. It feels like the game is open to me doing whatever as long as it like matches some parameters that it has for it. And so I felt like I could be very creative in this way, but it still had a little bit of guardrails. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that quest will usually unlock some other way to interact with the world, or another like idea for something to build. And all of these like rooms, if you start adding more shit into them, sometimes it will change its like classification. So if you put a forge into one, then it's like, hey, this is a smithing room now or something. And that counts for like more points towards your village's level, which is interesting to me. Again, it's encouraging a certain amount of exploration while still having the guardrails of like, you're upping your village level right now. It's not just totally free form stuff going on. Mm-hmm. There also are like groups of monsters that will attack sometimes. And so you need to like build your village up a little bit to the point where it's not just going to like fall over if someone comes and attacks you. Mm-hmm. And like the bigger attacks are usually, they tell you very far in advance, like there's like a quest marker with one of the guys in the village that has like swords on it, which means like, hey, there's going to be an attack soon. And so it kind of clues you into like, you should prepare your defenses a little bit.
Yeah, get things ready.
Yeah. And so it's interesting, right? Like I like the guardrails here. So like you and I have played Minecraft a fair bit. Like I feel like me and Jahan played it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like right when it came out, or like not right when it came out, but when it was first like gaining some traction online. Mm-hmm. I feel like in like 2010 is when you and I were like kind of playing it the most, which was really fun. But I think I got out of that game a lot what I wanted out of it the first couple of times that I played it through to completion, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Where like we built this shared world, we built up some bases, did some mining, like made our base cool as fuck. Mm-hmm. And then that was like enough for me.
Dipped. Yeah. Had some weird skins.
Yes. You add some skins and you have some fun, and like that's kind of it. And to be fair, the parts of that I liked were the self-imposed motivation of like, the game never tells you have to do that, but to have this like digital space that we were all contributing to felt really cool and really interesting. Mm-hmm. In a way that I don't really know that I had experienced in other games before.
Yeah, that was the first.
Specifically not to that degree. I'd obviously played like World of Warcraft before that, but I think that there's a difference between the heavily not linear part of World of Warcraft, but like that world has been programmed and there are quests and specific things you can and can't do. Whereas Minecraft feels very much more like the sandbox kind of game where it doesn't tell you anything you can or can't. It's just like, here you go, figure it out. And so you as the player have to figure out what motivates you and your group as a way to find the fun in that game, which, like I said, is really cool. And I understand why the game has gotten as big as it has, but I never got pulled into it again as hard as I did those first couple times. However, in Dragon Quest Builders, I am pulled into it because it just has a little bit more of here's your goal. Here's the thing that you should be doing, or the thing that you should be working towards, right? And then it allows you to just do whatever creative thing you want to, because like the rules are pretty easy for like how to make a room or how to complete these quests. And you can, fuck around with your village that entire time. You really don't have to like keep always just be progressing the main quest. Like yesterday, I was like, I don't really like the way my village looks. I'm just going to redo a lot of this. I want like better flooring for my village. Mm-hmm. And so I go out, collect a bunch of hay, build a bunch of like hay floor and spread that around the whole village.
Ooh, that's better than what you had?
It was dirt before, so it didn't look great. That is an upgrade. And so like that sort of stuff where, again, it is emergent motivations for me. The game didn't tell me any of that. But they just had enough constraint on it for my own mind to sort of pick up on that stuff rather than like Minecraft feels sometimes a little overwhelming to me. in the sense of like, I need something to point my ship at. And like, I'll figure out creative stuff to do along the way.
Too free sometimes.
Yeah, right. I think you see a similar kind of constraint a lot of time in other sandbox games. I think you see it with Animal Crossing and like how much friction that game can put on like creating your town and how you look and how your house looks. And so when you see creative villages, it's like really impressive and really cool because nobody told the people how to do that. They just were like, here's how I'm going to do it. And so I think that there's like a really high degree of interest there and satisfaction that that game can derive for a player. I think you see it with like Little Big Planet with how much of the like custom maps on that one blew up for people. And like a little bit in GTA, like that game is also a sandbox game. It definitely has more rules about what you can and can't do. But like, again, I think the success of something like GTA Online where there's not a big main quest, you know? A lot of the interest that people get there are creating shit on top of that, right? Like
doing
a lot
wild
of the
shit.
Yeah, the like GTA roleplay stuff that happens on Twitch and stuff is like really interesting, but nobody told them to do that. They just did it, right? But I think that this game, as far as sandbox games, just skews a little bit more towards the goal-oriented stuff, which I really, really appreciate. I think that like gives me a lot of drive to have these goals, to have like, as much as this is a ding boy thing, a meter that shows me what level my village is so that I can like get cooler shit once I do a higher level village.
I mean, you got to have a meter.
I need to have a meter, man. I
need
to have
if
something.
You don't have a meter?
I need something to track my progress.
I didn't know if I'm doing a good job.
Please tell me, video game, that I'm doing okay.
Could you give me a performance review, please?
Am I meeting the expectations of the role?
What quotas do I need to fulfill?
Just like, this is not related to the sandbox stuff, but like, I really love how intentional Dragon Quest is about being accessible to people. And I don't mean that as far as like colorblind modes. Like, unfortunately enough, there's not as much of that in this one.
I'll notice.
But I just mean accessible in the way of like, you don't need a ton of prior experience with video games to enjoy a Dragon Quest game. And I think that this one is not an exception to that. That is true for this game too. The producer, Noriyoshi Fujimoto, in this like interview, he had said that quote unquote accessibility is like one of the most important factors in what makes a Dragon Quest game a Dragon Quest game. He said, if it can't be picked up by anyone to play, then it's not Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest first brought RPGs to console gaming for wider access of the genre to the masses when it was predominantly PC based at the time, which is a good point. Like, I think that is like, RPGs were a very, very PC centric experience for a long time. And so to bring that to consoles, like, obviously, yes, that is making it more accessible just by the definition of the word. But I appreciate that they kept that philosophy moving forward, obviously in the mainline Dragon Quest games. But then like, I think to see Minecraft and be like, hey, that is philosophically really close to what we do, right? Minecraft is also very accessible. Like, there's just a little bit of that upfront knowledge of like how to craft, right? That you need to figure out. But other than that, like, the combat isn't that hard. It makes sense that if you don't have anything to interact with, you're going to click a mouse button or just one of the buttons on the controller and start beating up dirt and then break that out into a voxel. And then you're like, okay, I get the game. I understand what this is. Like that, the whole thing of the loop of you break a box and realize that you can pick it up and put it somewhere else is the entire game of Minecraft, right?
It's
like
true.
That's the whole fucking thing, which is really, really cool. And like, obviously there's a lot more complexity on that, but I think that that's such a genius connection to make that like, here is the entry to RPGs. Here is the, I think Into the Aether called it the basics done right with Dragon Quest, where like they just nail the like absolute necessities of an RPG, and that's like the whole game, right? Like obviously it gets more complicated the farther you get in, but like, you know, attack, magic, and defend are the main parts of this game, you know? And so I think to nail that in both parts here is really admirable. The combat is dead simple, right? Like you can attack and that's really it. You just run up to a guy and slash your sword. That's it. It's very Minecraft, right? The combat is not that complicated. And so like, yeah, I just thought that was like such an illuminating look at both Dragon Quest and this game, which is really good.
Yeah, you would not think that those have anything in common, but philosophically, that does make sense how they have it shared common thread there.
I feel like games that are introductions to games, like if you try and think about that, I think an easy knee-jerk reaction is to think about like kid games. And I feel like kids games oftentimes are not as good at teaching them about what the game is as games that are just like the on-ramp is really easy. Like I would not describe Mario as a kid's game, but like you give it to a kid, they will figure it out. It's not that complicated to figure out, like, I have a controller in my hand. There are only so many buttons. There's a Goomba coming at me. What am I doing?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
You will figure it out. And so I think that like, it's just so cool to see it used as an on-ramp like that. It's great. The other really only thing I want to note about this game is that like the story that it's telling, I think is pretty fun and interesting. On the surface, right? It's hilarious. The setup of like people not knowing how to build. And like, you know, kind of conjures the like Idiocracy, the movie of like
sure,
when like you go into the future and you're an idiot in 2020, like it's not that wild in 50 years in the future to be like, here's how to do something, right?
Yeah.
It feels kind of similar. But like going a little bit deeper, in the beginning of the game, the person who's talking to you in your head very specifically says like, remember, you are not a hero. That is not your role here, which like was really great for me. It kind of was a little bit jarring. And I was wondering, like, are they going to pull the rug out from under me on that one? Like, am I going to have to beat the big bad? And like, that may be something that I end up doing, right?
Sure.
But like looking into the history of this and like where the game is positioned in Dragon Quest's history is really cool. Like, so the setup being that in this game, it is set in the world of Dragon Quest 1, the first one that came out. And at the very end of that game, the I think it's the Dragon Lord offers the like your player character a choice of hey, I'm going to make you a deal to not fight right now. And as the player, you can choose yes or no in that situation. And I think like choosing yes and fighting him is like the canonical good ending, right?
Sure.
Like you beat him and then the kingdom is saved and everything. But you do get a choice to say, okay, I'll take your deal. I read on Wiki that the game freezes if you do that.
Really?
And so like, I wonder if that was intentional or if it was just like, this is us representing how that deal goes. But this game is set in that world where the hero said, I'll take the deal.
Interesting.
And like the blowback of that is that, of course, it was a trap, and the Dragon Lord used that as a way to disarm the player and like get rid of them essentially. And so you're living in this world where monsters have just like totally run amok, right? Like the whole world has been blasted. It reminds me how the Zelda games kind of retconned those 3 timelines, right?
Sure.
One of them being where Link lost in Ocarina of Time. And like, that's all very cool. I again, I kind of get the sense that like, that is not what Nintendo was planning when they were like building the Zelda games.
Definitely not.
But in this one, it's much more clear that like, yes, you are living in that world. And I think that that's really cool. Like it says that like, you are not a hero, right? But I think that is the same thing as saying that like Zelda is not the hero of Tears of the Kingdom. Like she does so much for that world.
Yeah.
And I think in the same way in this one, like you are preparing the world for the return of like the main character in another Dragon Quest game.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And I just think that that's really cool. Like we were talking about how it seems like it would be an interesting game to play as Zelda in Tears of the Kingdom, because like she does so much and is so self-sacrificial and much more quote unquote heroic than Link, who's just, you know, head empty and most of the game. So, which like, it's a reduction. Obviously like, Link is beating Lionel ass, but like still, I think that it's easy to say I want a game where I'm not playing as the knight in shining armor, but I do think it's another thing entirely to make that compelling. And I think they do here. I think like putting you in a world where monsters are totally run amok and like the only thing you can do is build in this like, it's not a ruined world. Like it's very beautiful and picturesque, but it's like there's no civilization. There's no like human buildup here. And so I think like it's a very compelling position to put you in as the player of you have to redo this. You have to build the world back. You're not the person who's going to be cutting down the evil Dragon Lord. Again, I haven't beat it. Maybe you do that. But what the game is saying so far is like, that's not your role here. Instead, like you need to focus on the thing that you know how to do, the thing that makes you, right? The thing that makes you special, which is in this case, building. Gotta build, which is, it's really neat. I really love this game. It is very satisfying whenever they throw a new blueprint at me. That's like, I haven't touched on this at all, but there's these things where they give you called blueprints every now and then where you can, it's this big thing that shows up and you can put it on the ground and it will outline for you like, okay, if you build like this wall with this back over here and like a couple of beds in these specific spots, then it will turn into this kind of room, which feels very much like, it's triggering the same things that like building a Lego set does for me, where there are explicit instructions and your job is to just build that thing, which is insanely satisfying. It's very, very good. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, I just think this game is wonderful in a lot of ways.
Awesome.
It's hard for me to remember it exactly too, so I may dip back into that one to just kind of see how that one went. I do remember a lot more story in that one. It felt like it took a while to get to like the video game part of it, but yeah, I think both are good. Like if any of that sounds compelling, I think you will be satisfied with either version of the video game.
Sure. Sounds fun. Yeah. Got to build a world to save.
Yes. Good. It's good. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I've been playing, and I sort of suspect this won't be super long, but I've also been playing Slay the Spire Downfall, David.
Oh, this is a DLC or a sequel or what?
This is a mod has been released. Yeah. So,
whoa.
Quick history. I am a Slay the Spire sicko.
Absolutely.
I've played so much of that fucking video game.
Yeah.
For anybody who hasn't played Slay the Spire, A, you should. It's very good. B, it is a deck building roguelike. I would say it's the deck building roguelike, which is sort of bizarre if you've only seen screenshots of this game. It looks very unassuming. The art style looks very like, I wouldn't call it simple, but like it's not the most polished thing in the world. But geez, man, this game has legs. This was the first deck building roguelike that got me into this genre in the first place. I think it's just so well tuned. It teaches you so much without really doing a lot. Like it doesn't explicitly say like, here's how you should build your deck, but it encourages replayability and experimentation in a way where eventually if you just play it enough, you'll be like, oh, that combo worked a lot better than I was expecting it to. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How else can I build it in a way that like makes sense, right? And so you'll experiment with bigger decks and trying to build towards certain combos, or be like, what if I just have like 3 cards in my deck? Could I do that? Or anything like that. It's so much fun. And I think it's so well balanced in a way that like, I love a lot of deck building roguelikes, but like this one's still kind of top tier for me. I don't know that another one has come as close to perfection as this game has. Monster Train gets close. I really like Monster Train.
Monster Train's fun.
Anyway, I had heard of this mod. I think it came out last year, like officially, and people were saying like, hey, it's really good. And for whatever reason, I was worried about that. I was just like, oh God, is it maybe not going to be good though? Like I was worried that I would meet my hero of Slay the Spire again, and it would be like not that sick. Hadn't played it yet. I'd heard so many good things about it, but didn't. I was also trying to play it on the Steam Deck and it was just like not working. And so I was like, whatever. Like I am so reluctant to spend any time at my desk that I don't have to.
Sure.
Which is, again, it's a testament to Baldur's Gate 3 that I spend any time playing it at all because the game is that fucking good. But like, I don't like sitting at this desk. I do work here. So anyway, I finally got it working on the Steam Deck. Took a little doing, but I figured it out. And yeah, sure enough, it's really, really fucking good. This mod is incredible.
Hell yeah.
It's essentially DLC. It's free. Like you can just get it if you have Slay the Spire. But if you had told me like, hey, this is official DLC made by the same people who made Slay the Spire and I played it, I would have said, yes, definitely. I wouldn't have batted an eye at that. It feels like just as high quality, just as well thought out and considered. Mm-hmm. But man, it is really bananas how good this one is. Just to explain like what it actually offers, it offers you one additional like normal class. There's 4 in the base game, and then it offers you a 5th, which is a like gunslinger character. One of the bigger like mechanics that they have there. There's a lot, but one of the things that I'm really enjoying is this thing called Dead On, where if the cards in your hand are in a specific spot, it will trigger different effects. So like a card will say deal 6 damage, or dead on, meaning it's in the middle of your hand, literally how you're holding it. If it's there, then it will do double damage or whatever. And so you're encouraged, and the cards offered allow you to like draw through your deck or discard a specific one to try and like get cards into the right position and shit like that, which is just, it's so creative. That's such a creative idea for a card game. There's a lot more mechanics with that character, but that's one of them. And then I think the bulk of this mod is the actual downfall part of it, where it allows you to play as a number of the bosses from the game.
Ooh, that's cool.
It's really, really neat. And they don't restrict you, right? Like it is the cards that they're offering. It's not like you just get 5 extra cards and that's how you have to do it. It's a whole nother character with very different mechanics, and they're all built different. And instead of like in Slay the Spire, when you come up to the map for the first time, you're going from the bottom to the top. At this one, it just reverses this. You start at the top and then you go down. A lot of the people who are your allies in the base game, like the shopkeeper, they aren't in this game. So it's interesting. I think that it's like a really compelling game. I am so glad that it's high quality. I feel the same compulsion to play it a lot. And I'm always so curious because, like, again, I think there's like 5 or 6 new boss characters that they allow you to play as. I've only played as 2 of them, and like feel like there is so much depth to each one that I've played so far. It's just shocking the amount of effort that they have put into this. And like, again, it's these characters play so differently from one another. It's not just like, well, this one's kind of just a clone of another thing, or I've seen that in another game. It's like, I haven't. And maybe that's an oversight. Maybe these are ideas that exist already. But for my money, like it feels super duper original and really, really cool.
I always love when you get to play as a boss in a game.
Me too. It's really, really fun.
Little power trip.
Yeah. And like there are bosses that you can play as that I'm like, this feels like stronger than a normal base class, but they're not really blowing the water out, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you get to the end of a level, you have to fight one of the normal characters, and they usually are pretty tough, which is really good. I think that it's such a interesting swerve on this base game. God, I wish more stuff would come out from, I think, what is it, Critical Hit? Whoever makes Slay the Spire, I wish that they would do more shit. Because like, God, this game is so good. Yeah. But also, like, how do you follow this up? I feel like just doing more Slay the Spire is the move here. Anyway, I'm crazy about this game. It's so good. I am revitalized into Slay the Spire, which is something that I never considered possible. So yeah, amazing. Downfall. If you have Slay the Spire, please play it. It's so good. It's free. Like, if you own the game on Steam, you can just go get it. I wish that there was a little bit more plan to bring it to like the other consoles, because like I know that like the base version of Slay the Spire is on Switch, but I'm sure that there's a lot of work to make it official. But I mean, the creators of Slay the Spire have like put their stamp on this mod and said like, yeah, this is good. This is a really good one. So like it's not like it is, you know, skirting around like legality or something. They obviously have like approval, but perhaps not just financial approval in some way or another. So. But yeah, it's astounding, the quality of this thing.
Awesome. Love to see it. Love a good mod too.
Yeah.
Like a well thought out, polished mod. Always it's always a project of passion, truly.
Whenever you see one that's like really high quality, it is pretty surprising.
Yeah.
And you know, there's tons of them. The Forgotten City comes to mind. That was I think it was a Skyrim mod.
Skyrim moms?
I think that was a Skyrim mom.
It's like almond moms?
Yeah, it's a Skyrim mom. She is really fond of the cold, drinks a lot of mead.
Ooh.
Knows a Thume.
Snow mommy.
Snow mommies. Anyway, David, this will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week. It's Bunt Chugly.
Oh, what a name. What a name.
In the Discord that we were in, or the worstgarbage.online, one of the folks in there, Mac, had posted a picture of a Baldur's Gate character, apparently named Bunt Chugly, and said that it sounded like a Podtimism character, which it does.
It really does. It
really sounds like a Podtimism character.
And what is it? Bunt Chugly?
Bunt Chugly.
Really reminds me of the Red Hot Chili Peppers line where it says, "Drinking my juice, young love chug-a-lug me. Drinking my juice, young love bunt chugly."
Yeah.
Drinking my juice, young love bunt chugly. It's endlessly entertaining. And looking at some of the other names from Baldur's Gate 3, I'm like, these are all Podtimism worthy names right here. Yeah. Someone was having some fun with the name creator.
It's sort of bizarre seeing that, because I do think that is hilarious. And it's like, if you've ever experienced like what you look like in a mirror versus what you look like in a picture, sometimes it's like, like that. I guess that is it. But I've only ever seen myself in like a reflection rather than like what I look like to other people.
Exactly.
The description of Podtimism as two guys talk about video games and laugh at silly names is a really pretty good description of what this is.
Definitely not wrong. Definitely not wrong.
Like if one of us just says kind of a goofy sounding name, that usually will fill up an episode.
Bunt Chugley. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot to unpack with Bunt Chugley.
I know, yeah. It sounds like either a baseball player or a frat bro or both.
Like, who's Mr. and Mrs. Chugley? Who are his parents?
And why did they name him Bunt?
Yeah. What were the other names that were on the editing room floor?
It's amazing. So yeah, I love Bunt Chugley. It's really, Bunt has been hanging over me all week. I'm just constantly returning to his name.
I mean, the first name in particular, Chugley, is the one that gets me.
Oh, it's Bunt for me. I like Bunt the most.
We really are two sides of the same coin, Chase.
Yeah, that's what makes this work. Do you have something fueling your sense of Podtimism, David?
I do, Chase.
All right, what is it?
It's Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon.
It's coming. It's almost out.
I think it's out tomorrow. I think it's out today on PC and tomorrow for consoles.
Oh, love that.
This is like the first mech game that I've ever really been interested in playing just by like watching trailers for it. And something I also love about this game is that your handler, or the guy who's like always talking to you over the PA or whatever it is, your mic, it's the same guy who does the voice for Endeavor from My Hero Academia. I couldn't place it for a while, but I'm like, that is definitely, he's going to tell me to go plus ultra, and I'm going to listen. I'm just going to go wild, which is a lot of fun. But this game looks really like a lot of fun, and I may just be a FromSoft fanboy, but I'm very interested in playing this game, and I'm excited to do some mech fighting. It's a very specific genre of video game that I don't think necessarily gets enough attention or love a lot of the time. So I'm interested to see what they can do with this one.
It does feel like mech games don't always break out of that like niche. I feel like there are people who really enjoy mech games, and like that's them. You know, that doesn't really reach a wider audience. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where this goes, because like I played like Mech Warrior, and we played what was that game that we played for the show a while back?
We did Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries.
That one, yes. We played that.
That one was like the polar opposite of what this game looks like, though, at least gameplay wise.
Yeah. There's that. Obviously, Zone of the Enders absolutely bangs. What other mech games are there? Oh, Front Mission. I like Front Mission. And so like I'm not a stranger to this genre, but none of them have like super got me, I guess, other than Zone of the Enders, but like that game feels so different than almost everything here. So I'm really interested to see like how this lands for either of us, because like I also like FromSoft a lot, so I'm interested to see like what they've taken from that series, or what they've kind of learned since then, and what they apply here. Because like every preview that I've seen, most of them say like this is definitely a mech game. This is not like Bloodborne or something like that.
Yeah. Man, I don't think I'd want it to be. I want it to be a mech game.
Yeah, me neither.
I want to fly.
I think it would be kind of a dereliction of duty almost to a game like this, and have it not be, true to the series.
Everybody loves our Elden Ring. Might as well make it like that.
Yeah. Cool. Do you want to move on to our main thing, David?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Welcome to Good Games. It's the segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear.
Too fast.
And gush all the things that we love about them. That was record speed between segment times.
It really was.
Usually there's a break.
No intermission today. Straight in.
Sorry.
Fueled by the power of Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. We, in this segment, talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them. I said that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about Bruce.
Think about them, Bruce, man. So we got another listener suggestion for a game called Champions of Norrath, and this was suggested to us by listener Dakota. Thank you, Dakota. I had seen this cover before.
Oh, this cover was all over the place.
Big at Blockbuster, I feel like. Had you played this?
I had not played this, no.
Neither had I.
I was not a big dungeon crawler gamer when I was a child, or like hack and slash gamer as a child.
Yeah.
Besides like Gauntlet, which is just like Unga Bunga for CRPG players.
It's true.
So this game was, I definitely knew of it. I had heard of it before, and I knew like immediately the cover, but I'd never played it myself. No.
Yeah, I was the same way. I had seen a lot of it, and I think I was in kind of a similar position that like these games felt a little bit too crunchy for me at the time.
Sure.
Or at least my perception of it, the marketing, like it felt like it was marketing to like people who played RPGs on like the computer or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is sort of true and sort of isn't. Like this game is set in the EverQuest universe. And so like, I think it's marketing to those people, but like it's also definitely a hack and slash game. So like,
yeah, definitely.
But before we get too far, can I hit you with a few hot stats about Champions of Norrath, David?
Please.
Hot stats.
This game came out February 10th, 2004 in North America. So kind of middle part of the PS2's life cycle. This was made by Snowblind Studios, local heroes. They're out of Kirkland.
Oh, Kirkland brand video games.
Kirkland brand video games. Honestly, that kind of matches in that it's like, it seems like it might not be that good, but it is actually very high quality.
It's like a nice B+.
Yeah, just over the water from Seattle. Local fellas. They had also made, and this is painful, but Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance. Sorry to mention your soon-to-be love affair, but that they also did make
a love affair for the ages.
They also made Champions Return to Arms, which is like, from everything I saw, a very similar game to this. Dakota had actually mentioned that was also a game that we could play. I assume or presume because it's just like very similar stuff going on in each one. They also made Justice League Heroes and Lord of the Rings War in the North, which was the last game they made as Snowblind Studios, but they got rolled into Monolith Productions, which eventually would go on to make the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor games.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I do have a review of this game from Jeux Video, a outlet out of France.
Beautiful.
I have taken their review, run it through Google Translate a number of times, one language into the other, and mangling it up for an artist's interpretation.
I'm ready for that spice.
Again, I love Jeux Video, man. They really do it right. They're special. They said, perfect at all levels. We were surprised to cross the chalk line and finish the consolation champions. The developers of Guys of Norrath have given us an amazing, flawless, and exciting game, and most importantly, an amazing game that you can play on the web with 4 players at the same time on the internet. Summary: if you like El Dorado style, and they gave that an 8.5 out of 10.
You know, sometimes these Jeux Video reviews sound like it's Tim Robinson doing a bit.
Yes, it's absolutely true.
Like, especially when you get a little bit angry in there.
Yeah, where like it tries to cut you off and it like reassert that the most important thing is that it can be played on the internet.
It's just like, I need to make this point very clear.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
I was like, Guys of Norrath?
Guys of Norrath.
Guys of Norrath.
It's good. Could you tell me what this game is, David?
Yeah, Champions of Norrath is a top-down hack and slash game. Swords and sorcery set in the EverQuest universe, actually.
Yep.
And you take on the guise of a champion of some sort. You get to like choose a character. There's not a huge like character creation stage, but you get to choose like preset characters from different classes and races, male, female. And then you get thrown in and you start hacking and slashing to your heart's desire, or I guess using spells and bows and stuff too, if you decide to be a long range like caster of some sort. Yeah. But you know, there's overworlds, there's little caves you can go into, there's looting galore.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Item management galore. Goblins and ghouls and zombies.
A goblin with no conscience.
Yes, that's what I was going for. But it's goblins and orcs have teamed up together, I think is what it is. Yeah. And create a terrible alliance that's threatening the world of higher beings like elves and stuff, humans.
It's sort of hilarious that the beginning of the game has it's like this like high elf dude in the forest is like, we champions, we have summoned you here. You must help us out. Like, this is our most dire moment. And you as the player character show up with like a broken short sword, the worst armor that you can equip, a level 1. You've got nothing. Like, the worst person to bring to this job. He's like,
I woke up like this.
Yeah, and did not try.
Yeah, you should be happy that I'm here.
What did you think about this game?
I enjoyed this game. Reminded me a lot of like a Diablo.
Yes, I think that's probably the most appropriate comparison.
Not a whole lot of, finesse in the way that you engage with the combat.
Yeah.
It's like instead of point and click, it is go up to somebody and press the button.
And
is the game. Of course, there's a little bit of strategy, especially like in the tunnels area. If you're like really outnumbered, you like go around a corner, you cast a couple, but it's all about spacing and like trying to manipulate the pattern, like the movement patterns of the enemies to like funnel them a little bit. So it's not really like you're dodging attacks or anything like that, and like a Bloodborne or anything like that. But it's simple but fun. It's really about the exploration and the looting, and I kill a goblin and I get some money, and then I break a chest and I get some more money, and then I turn around the corner and there's another chest that has a special item in it, and I equip that item, and then I'm a little bit stronger, and then you just kind of rinse and repeat. You're just always getting like new things. Is this better? Put it on. There's more enemies to kill. You kill them, you get more stuff. That's pretty much the game loop from what I experienced, at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of a, saying mindless, it sounds more pejorative than I want it to be, but it is simple. It's simple in the gameplay. Yeah. But it's still fun and keeps you interested because it's always giving you new things to consider, at least like item wise. Yeah. Loot wise.
It felt like elevated Gauntlet a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because like, the combat is not horribly complicated. I feel like one of the bigger things with this is that like this is a game that came out in 2004. And so like as far as the amount of action RPGs that were on the market were just like not as varied as there are now. Like this is a very common type of game now. But like it I feel like in hindsight, it is very, or at least at the time, this would have felt very novel. Just because like Diablo was such a big deal. I don't know that there were a lot of other things competing for that space at the time as much as this one feels like it is.
Especially not on consoles.
Yeah. I think that's the big draw, is that like you don't have to have a PC to play this one. You can just play it on your PS2. I think that like, because this is a genre that has had so many iterations and it is like quite popular now, that you see a lot of games with this implementation of like loot and item upgrades and shit like that, that there are parts of this game that feel dated. I think as a result, like the edges that would go on to be sanded off aren't really, they're still sharp in this one,
Sure.
Like having to run a lot of places. Like I found myself like teleporting back when I needed more like health potions or arrows. I played a ranger in this one. Or like arrows or anything like that. I would teleport back to wherever the closest vendor was, and then I would need to like run all the way back to where I was before.
Yeah.
When you get down into like the orc cave or whatever, I like stopped right before the boss, and I was like, all right, I think I need more stuff to actually beat him. And so, like I said, just had to like run all the way through, which is like, I think of the time that makes sense, but there are definitely edges there that I'm like, that probably would have been different had this come out today.
Yeah. Quality of life upgrades have happened since this time.
For sure. Yeah. But like, all in all, I found this really satisfying. I found this a really fun game. I love how you have to consider where you are at all times. I was playing on like the easiest difficulty and was still getting my ass kicked very regularly.
It's kind of hard.
It's really fucking hard. I think part of that, and something that we haven't touched on yet, is that this was a internet like online game that you could play with people. I love the title screen where it says like, I think regular game or internet game. It's just incredible. Right. I love that choice.
Of the time.
But this was a game that on PS2 you could play with other people, which I think if that worked, I have no knowledge if that was like foolproof or not, but if that worked, I could see how that would just be like the coolest shit ever.
It would have been wild.
Yeah.
PS2 like, was like before they really figured out how to do internet gaming with consoles, that's for sure.
Yeah. I had one of those like network adapters that they sold. It was this like, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, like there was this adapter that you could buy. It was like $40 and you could slap it on the back of your PlayStation 2, and then it had like a Ethernet cable and like a dial-up cable.
Oh man,
that you could plug into your PlayStation. And like, God, I had such a hard time figuring out how to set that up. I had to like call one of my dad's friends who was like a programmer or something, and he had me running like IP config on my Windows machine, and I was like, dude, I don't know what the fuck this is.
We eventually really had to do that?
Yes. No, it was really hard. I like did not know how to do it. It was not plug and play. Maybe that was just because we had the internet that we did, but still, that was nuts. Anyway, I did end up playing some of this stuff online, and like when it worked, it felt miraculous at the time.
Wow.
I played a lot of Resident Evil Outbreak on the PS2 that was online. It was essentially like kind of a roguelike where you would just run through like a couple of small instances, and you had like 4 Resident Evil characters that you could play as. And I think the goal of it was to just like escape. And obviously the challenge was like, if you don't get to the end, like you just die. Like it's sort of a Left 4 Dead sort of thing where the people just have to go on without you. I think the challenge of that game was just like beating it at all was hard. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was also an online game that you could play.
Really?
Yes. Which was really cool. I will say that like because this is the PlayStation 2 era, like very easily moddable and hackable. So like you just see people like on the ground spinning, doing like the 10,000 rather than actually doing a real trick, and just like absolutely kick your ass. So it wasn't perfect, but I think that this was like the first time where it felt like even a possibility for consumers at this point. Like there was that like adapter for the SNES that could connect to the internet and download games, which was a bananas thing. But
for the SNES?
For the SNES, yeah.
What?
But this one felt like, as much as there was a hard setup, the barrier to entry was lowered just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think like around the Xbox 360 eras when it finally was like, okay, no, this is for the people.
This is
now.
The future of gaming.
Yeah, right. Because like with PS2, you don't have like a friends list. You don't have a profile. You just go into the game and play the game.
Yeah.
And so like all of that sort of like meta stuff wasn't there. But I think it makes sense when you're thinking about like an EverQuest style game to play that online. And so I think it makes sense to put it into Champions of Norrath.
Totally.
Yeah. A fun game. I thought that this was genuinely good. The loop of it I thought was good.
Yeah.
I love being challenged almost immediately with like, this game is not holding my hand. I need to learn how to play it.
Yeah.
Really got to get that shield up, man. The shield was the most important thing in this video game.
Uh-huh.
What class did you play when you played through this?
I was a cleric?
Sure. Did you have healing spells?
Wait, was I a cleric or I was the high elf cleric. Yes. I don't know if I didn't have any healing spells, at least not yet. I just had like a blasty spell. I was like good at killing undead things.
Huh. Well, I guess that makes sense cleric wise.
Yeah. And I had like maces and shit.
Yeah.
Blunt weaponry.
Yep. I played a ranger, and like they rely heavily on bow and arrow, which was very cool, but like you definitely run out of arrows a lot.
I was about to say, I didn't see many arrows in this game.
No, I was buying a lot of them. I would buy like 100 before I went into the caves, and even that didn't get me all the way there.
Sure, dang.
But yeah, like I thought it was really like good. As much as it was simple, it still felt pretty tight. And like if you didn't play by the game's rules, you would get overwhelmed so quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which I think is cool. Like it does make it hard, but I think that the challenge is an important part of this kind of game, where like they don't want it to just be something you can walk through, because it forces you to like get better gear, get better spells, understand your character, maybe like grind a little bit to get a higher level, which is like similar to Baldur's Gate. A single level can really turn the tide for you.
They really want you to loot and grind in this game.
I will say that the economy feels very strange in this game, where like you'll pull up a treasure chest and it's like, hey, here's 40 gold coins. Mm-hmm. And like a pack of 20 arrows is 150 gold. So like there's not very much.
It's a lot of moolah.
It's a lot of moolah. But if you pick up like a sword, that's worth like 500 or something like that. So like just the amount of money was very confusing to me. I'm not like, should I even be worried about this, or should I just save my room for like the swords and stuff?
So I can go and sell them. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like in 2023, it feels like a very familiar kind of game that I was like kind of happy to see again.
Yeah, it's kind of like a warm hug.
Yes,
type of game. You know, it's not gonna like blow your mind away with any mechanics or anything, but it's just straightforward. But it's still fun. And I think what really makes that type of game is that, like you said, the combat feels tight. The swings always felt like they hit when they were supposed to. The animations were good and descriptive. Like you could always tell what your character was doing. It didn't look like muddy or muddled. And I thought that the environments were very nice too. They did a good job of giving it a sense of density and liveliness wherever you were, like in the forest area, like huge trees coming off from side to side. In the pretty surprisingly good physics engine in this game. Like, did you see the water? Like when you walk through the water, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising.
And the fire as well was like impressively realistic. Yeah. So they definitely, they know how to work with the ambiance of it all, which in a game that is pretty simple, I think goes a long way to making it feel like, okay, they're still putting a lot of effort into this game. It's just not, they're not exactly trying to just win you over with just the rote combat. It's everything together makes an engaging experience.
Yeah, totally. It's also very long, this game. I was looking at like a walkthrough to see like, okay, how far into this did I get? Not close at all. I was so far away from the end of the video game.
Yeah, pretty much. I suspected as much being an RPG from this era.
Which I think is cool. Like I can totally see, I actually don't know if it's local co-op or not, but even like online, God, I could see just pouring hours into this game.
Absolutely.
If this was like something that I could play reasonably with friends and I had a shitload of free time, like, oh my God, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think that experience of local or not, like that felt so novel at the time to be able to like play in the same world that wasn't just like an arcade game as much as Gauntlet was, you know. I think a lot of the local co-op stuff at the time was fairly restrictive in what it was offering you to play. But when you started having experiences like this, where the world felt a little more alive and you had like stuff that you had to manage, like items and everything, that goes a long way to feel like, oh, we're really doing something together here.
Mm-hmm.
As much as it's not like a traditional CRPG in the way that you have like persuasion checks or something like that, it's still interesting to have like, this is my full-blown character that has stats and things that I'm thinking about and managing, and this is my friend's class. You know, of course, it's getting closer to D&D, at least just the combat of D&D.
Yeah,
like I said, there's no like role playing going on here other than like I am a ranger, and I use a bow.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the character design is very 2004. A lot of bad armor for women. Not protective armor for women in this game.
Very stereotypical armor that gets better the less there is of it sort of situation.
Yeah. Which, you know, I know it's 2004, but still it's kind of jarring to play that after like coming back from Baldur's Gate 4 or Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, yeah, it's not like so in your face all the time, but like whenever they pull in close to a character that's a woman, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we're still in 2004, huh?
Yep, still living that life.
Also, I think I would have gone bananas at the time for being able to see physical changes on my character whenever I like equipped new armor or swords or anything. Oh my God, I was crazy for that shit at the time.
I mean, felt good.
Yeah,
changed
it was
with
rare.
Me. Yeah,
it wasn't super common. Did you know this game was reviewed pretty well at the time?
I did remember that. I remember it wasn't like a spectacular, but it was like everyone agreed it was pretty much a good game.
Yeah, it was like, it got kind of like 8 or 9s, which is interesting.
That's quite good.
Like I was saying, this is a game that in 2023 feels kind of strange because like it has, the genre's been updated so much. So like I sort of expected that this wouldn't have been reviewed as much, but I think that that's just hindsight. That is the context of now. Whereas like, if I put myself in 2004, this would be really impressive. This would be really shocking to play through and be like, wow, there's so much of this game. There's so much depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to play on, you know, a PS2.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably one of the things that it was trying to do, I think, if I remember correctly, is give a PC experience on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah. Which is that's a tall order.
It's a tall order because the PS2 is definitely not a PC.
No.
Definitely not back then.
No.
I think they did a admirable job.
Yeah, it felt like it. Did you ever play EverQuest?
I did not. I didn't really ever play any of those World of Warcraft, EverQuest Online MMO games. Yeah. My parents would not pay for the monthly subscription.
That's fair. Yeah.
They're just like, why are we paying every month for you to play this game? No, we pay once and you get to play it forever. Just like, fair point, parents.
Fair point. I hadn't either. It was like just before the period of time that I could really do that in any serious capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Either like, you know, find $10 a month to support that subscription or even just have a computer strong enough to do it. I feel like EverQuest seemed like it was something that was intended for people like maybe 5 years older than we were.
Sure.
But it's interesting. Like it's just it feels like a subculture of video games that I have no access to because like I'm not gonna, you know, go find some EverQuest server now.
Do those even exist anymore?
I bet there's like fan servers or like people who are hosting their own instances, but no, I don't think there's any serious capacity of EverQuest servers that are online right now.
Because it was Sony's game, wasn't it?
I think it was owned by Sony for a while.
Yeah.
Which is, I read about this, but didn't retain a lot of it. But like, you know, EverQuest was huge and they were trying to like capitalize on that with these kind of games. And I think Dark Alliance was sort of a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously World of Warcraft came along and ate their lunch.
Absolutely. They really just destroyed their lunch.
It's very strange. I don't have enough context of living through it at the time or like reading enough to know why it was such a significant upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, looking at screenshots of the original EverQuest, I'm like, this looks pretty dense. This looks pretty tough to learn how to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I love the exposure to the lore through this game specifically.
Love the lore. Always love a good lore.
Well, cool. Do you have anything else to say about this game, David?
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. Yeah, so did I. I think this was one of the like easier to say like this is actually a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
Good game. Because it was reviewed pretty well, but like I think for the most part that still holds up in a way that the edges are rough, but like you could a player in 2023 could play this and be like, yeah, I see why this is good.
It's well made.
Anyway, Dakota, thank you for suggesting this game. It was a good one.
Yeah, thank you, Dakota.
Hey gamers, it's me, your friend Chase, and I'm here to take you through the outro. We are on the internet. You can find us at podtimism.com. You can find a link to our email, I think our Twitter. You can listen to the episode there, although that seems like a weird place to listen to it, to be honest. It's just a webpage. If you refresh, it loses your place. So like,
I only listen on Twitter. What are you talking about?
It's a tough listen. But you can check out to see what games we played in the past. I used that today to see when I talked about Dragon Quest Builders 2, episode 6, apparently. You can also suggest a game like Dakota did on our website. Again, got a whole bunch. So we will work through that list as we can. But thanks to everybody who's been suggesting it. I always love to see like what people want us to check out. And we will play these video games. I was thinking maybe if we ever want to clear through this list, we could do like a double header. Like,
oh my goodness.
Like don't do the games that we've actually been playing.
Back to back.
And just do two good game segments.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Oh, if you want to check out the Discord that we call home now, can go to theworstgarbage.online. I think there's a link to a Discord in there. And I should just add one to our website too, now that I'm thinking about it. But,
absolutely.
Maybe that'll be there now. Speaking of which, thanks to The Worst Garbage for having us on the network.
Thank you so much.
Loving it here, having a great time. Got some new folks checking out the show, which I appreciate. So thanks for the network, and thanks for people giving us a look.
Yeah.
Speaking of other thank yous, thank you, Scout Wilkinson, for your amazing podcast art. You do great work. And if you want to, you can check out her work at ko-fi.com/humblegoat to check out her work. Looks like her commissions are currently sold out, but she opens them up every now and then. So keep an eye on that page and you'll see some stuff there. Also, if you want to help out the show, there's a couple things you can do. One is like leave a review on your podcast app of choice. Saw a couple more of those recently. So thank you for the people doing that. Or if you have a friend who's like, man, all these podcasts with people who are so jaded about video games are bumming me out. Be like, hey, I got one for you. These guys like video games.
Still
they're
do.
Not jaded. So yeah, you could show it to a friend, but also, hey, listen here. Thank you for listening. You earn your minutes throughout the week and you're not required to spend them here, but we do appreciate that you do.
Sure do.
So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. Love making the show and we're happy people are here.
Thanks everyone.
David, do you have any gaming wisdom to take us out at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday?
It's late, yeah.
We, for whatever reason, ran a little over.
Video game friends are great friends.
Oh, sure.
Real life friends are great friends as well.
That's true.
Cat friends are very good friends too. It's good to have lots of different types of friends.
Yeah.
Get a furry friend.
Rescue one specifically.
Rescue one, yeah. Rescue one, please. Rescue a pet. There are so many in need, and they will love you. They know that they've been rescued.
This one does.
This one hopped right in the carrier right when it got set down.
They really do know that they got rescued.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, it's so much quieter here. It doesn't smell. It's good.
This is sick. Yeah,
this is way better. They know they got the upgrade,
and now Bruce gets to live in your house.
Bruce is living in the house. He's living the dream, baby.
This one goes out to Bruce.
This one's so hold on, Brucey.
Have we already made a hold on Bruce Lee joke?
We did hold on Bruce Lee, and then it became Juice Lee.
Yes. Hold on Juice Lee was a thing for a while.
Hold on Bruce Lee.
I was trying to decide if I could make the episode title hold on Bruce Lee, but we'll see. I'll go back and check to see if it's already been used.
You don't have to do Bruce Lee, but like Bruce and then dash L-Y. Yeah.
Yes. No, definitely. Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee. Hold on, Bruce Lee. It's a good name.
See you next week, Bruce.
See ya.
Bye.
TWG, the worst garbage, the online